Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, it's another video from me today. What? The madness of it all. Okay, so what we got for you today? Well, now, in my midday briefing, I don't even know what this is anymore, right? Become a warrior teacher, do the usual, right? Give me money, give me some money so I can set up my studio and start doing this full time. So it's just great, I'm having a ball, right? So what have we got now? Schools. Let's talk about schools. There's a couple of articles that have come up today, one from the Daily Fail and one from the Telegraph, that I think are related. So we therefore will cover both very quickly. Well, as quickly as I can. You know what the Jesters like. So here we go from the Daily Fail online. Single-sex toilets abandoned and parents kept in the dark when pupils change their pronouns. Damning report exposes how children are being put at risk by the gender ideology sweeping Britain's schools. Okay, so let's get some cards on the table on this one for a minute. This is the sort of thing I'm going to be discussing about men later. Gender identity ideology is a very dangerous force. The acceptance of anybody, any child under 18, and in fact I would say anyone over 18, who has a professed belief in gender identity is a red flag the size of Poland. Okay, so if you've got a teacher who suddenly says, oh, I've got a gender identity and I want to be X, Y, Z, then that teacher needs to be investigated. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Right? Gender identity and queer theory are a danger, an existential and absolutely, right now, a danger to every child in the country. No matter how lunatic their gender identity loving parents are, which I think is Transhausen by proxy, but that's just me. I make it absolutely clear, gender identity is your personality. And gender expression is fashion. It's not complicated. Gender identity does not exist. And queer theory exists only to break down boundaries. As we already know, particularly the boundary between adult and child, and in fact, any boundary. A constant recapitulation of destruction and reformation, destruction, reformation. So that they just want to queer everything all the time. That's where I stand, right? Okay, more on that later, especially in the video that I'm going to do for men, right? Okay, so this comes from a report that they've got. I'll try and find everything and put it in the doobers for you. Most of the secondary schools surveyed by the Policy Exchange think tank. Now, that's a right-wing think tank. That's what they'll say. It's a far-right, this is a far-right think tank. Forget the idea of right or left in this. Just forget it, okay? Just forget it, all right? It's all about culture. It's not about politics. If you want to play politics, feel free. I'm staying up here because politics is downstream of culture. So let's stay up with the culture, right? I don't care who produced this. If you disagree with what the Policy Exchange is saying, regardless of the colours of your political flag, go and look at their documentation, pull it to pieces, and bring up an alternative that is fact-based. Go and do it. Go and do the research. See what the links are. Check their links. Are they telling the truth? If you're that worried, come up with a rebuttal. This is how it works, okay? But they won't. They'll just go, the right-wingers are out to get us, right, okay? Because anybody that doesn't believe in their insanity is right-wing, which means all of us. In which case it's pointless playing politics with this. Stay in culture, okay? I don't want critical social justice, gender ideology, queer theory and all that crap as part of my culture. I don't want it, right, okay? I don't want it as part of British culture. It's got nothing to do with British culture. Get it gone, okay? So whatever the result of the culture war is, that will be what's legislated for. You understand? Culture, politics. Because the politicians are sitting there going, God, how can we stay in power? And if the noise from one side is louder than the other, well, they get to stay in power by pandering to that noisy lot. Now, this sometimes causes grave errors. Look at Brexit. Nobody expected Brexit. The great British public gave them a poke in the eye. Turns out, when you look at what the EU are doing with this bloody nonsense, that Brexit may be the best thing we've ever done. And that's going to be hard to swallow for those that thought Brexit was a bad idea, because it's a culture. The culture defines the politics, right? And if we don't stop the culture, it will pervert the politics, and then it's game on. Women won't be safe, children won't be safe, and anybody who speaks up about this won't be safe. It's how they work. Mad leftists. See, now I'm in politics again. Stop it, Barry. Right, so what they're saying in this is essentially that the contested theory about gender identity is being taught freely in these schools. The shock findings have put pressure on the Department of Education to finally issue guidance for head teachers on transgender pupils. There is no such thing as a transgender pupil. There is no such thing as a trans child. End of story. There are only children who are in distress. This is a massive safeguarding fail. There's no such thing, right? It's a safeguarding issue. Oh, I think I might be a boy. Okay, right, that's a safeguarding issue. You're not, never can be. That's your first response. Now a biscuit and bugger off. That's your second. All right. If they're a teenager, it's no, you're not. You show them why they're not. Right. And they can scream and punch and shout and do whatever the hell they want. You're not. And you've got no rights anyway because you're under 18 effectively in terms of this. Not covered by the GRA. Which of course needs to be repealed. Quickly. Okay. Well, I was having a bit of a wing-ding with Audrey about that the other day. Audzilla came on, told me off. It's great. So, Audrey holds the line on the Equality Act. It's absolutely, but a great believer in the Equality Act. And Audrey holds the line, and there's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Always go to Audrey if one has a question. I find that she's a font of wisdom on that. But she's wrong about the GRA. You listen to me, Audrey? Right, here we go, okay? The report says teachers are letting pupils change their names or uniforms without parents or professionals being alerted. Safeguarding, can you say it? In a foreword to the report, Rosie Duffel, the Labour MP, heckled by her own colleagues for defending women's rights, a generation of children are being let down because well-established safeguarding standards are being compromised. Right, the staff are screaming out for guidance and the government are farting about. Just write it. It's all you have to do. There is no such thing as a trans child. There are only children in distress. That's it. We don't pamper to gender ideologues and queer theorists and critical social justice nutters. We don't pamper to them. We get rid of them. We fire them. We remove them from the place of position they are in. We remove them from places of power. And we replace them with people who are competent and not mentally deranged by this particular mind virus. It cites rules stating children are best looked after with their parents playing a full part in their lives. Well, what a surprise. And quotes official guidance saying parental responsibility includes naming the child and agree to any change of name. Well, the policy shouldn't agree to it at all. Trans children don't exist. Stop this now. It's a lie. And the government needs to say so. The whole thing is a lie. Based on the work of John Money. It's a lie. Comes from horrific males who did horrific things to children, Kinsey and bloody Money. You need to do so. Where the hell are you, government? What are you doing, Rishi? Stand up and say it. The whole thing's a damn lie. You trace it. If you think this is all so damn good, you trace it. And you come back to me with the roots. Because I know what they are. And the women watching now who've done the work know what they are. And the men watching now who've done the work know what they are. It's got to stop, right? One school claimed the Equality Act meant staff will not inform a parent or carer about trans or trans questioning without the student's consent. I mean, they're just completely mad. It's got Stonewall, isn't it? Stonewall Law and Mermaids, or Proud Trust in this case, I think a revolting organisation, or Gendered Intelligence, who are even worse. So what they did was they sent a Freedom of Information Act request to 304 secondary schools. And only 154 applied. They think they're above the law. That's what I'm thinking. Some of them do think they're above the law. Only 39 said they would inform parents as soon as people expressed the wish to change gender. 87 said they would not. Now let's assume just for a second, 10 children in those 87 in each of those 87 schools over the next 3 or 4 years. That's 870 children who will be damaged by an ideological belief system that requires this flesh sacrifice in order to be a full member. Insane, right? That's the first thing, okay? The second thing I managed to get my little grubby hands on is this. And this is an article in the Times. Again, everything is in the Dubris, okay? So the Times has, come out with this. Half of schools turn to outside agencies for sex education. Now, I know that Transgender Trends, Sex Matters, various other organisations, Safe Schools Alliance, have all done great work on identifying who these organisations are. But it is my thinking that now we need a database of these organisations. And it's very simple from my perspective. If those organisations in any way recognise gender identity or queer identities as a reality, that those organisations are unfit to teach in schools or to train in organisations. It's that simple. The unreality stops. More than half of schools surveyed by the think tank Policy Exchange engaged with agencies to help them deliver sex and education relationship. I don't blame them. It's a minefield, but it's not a minefield, right? That's the whole point. We're making a big ear out of this. The agencies most frequently named were the Proud Trust, the Rainbow Flag Award, Just Like Us, Diversity Role Models, and the PSHE Association. These have popped up from nowhere, and they're filled with ideologues, right? Ideologues straight out of Judith Butler's academic arse pipe, right? So they're nutters, right? Okay. The Proud Trust describes itself as a life-changing charity providing education, support and advocacy. They're not. They're a political organisation who are dicking with culture in order to get their political ends. They do the dice game, where they roll two things and it's got anus and finger on, they've got different parts of the body, and you sit with the kids and roll the dice. I've covered this before. What can you do with an anus and a finger? You imagine the look on the kid's face. Stop it, you perverts. It says, on his website, it says, through this activity, the dice game, young people are encouraged to take control of the sexual choices in their own bodies. Believe me, you do not have to teach a child how to put its finger up its bum. All right? Well, have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? As if they haven't gone by the time they're 13 or 14. What's this thing do? That's the trouble with them. They think children are a socially constructed vessel. That they can just, because we never used to screw, did we? When we didn't have all this social stuff. It's like, it's always socially constructed. It's not socially constructed at all, you wankers. Right. Policy Exchange said the Proud Trust message is based on gender identity. There you go. A belief system. Right, here's the other thing. It runs a live chat service with LGBT plus mentors. Does it now? They've been safeguarded? Have they been checked? Who are they? To what degree are they trained as a teacher? These are all questions that need to be answered by the government. Just say it. It's nonsense. Get it out of schools, all of it. Make it illegal. They managed to do it in America and various places. Make it illegal. The teaching of power and oppression-based narratives. Anyway, there we go. Then it talks about non-binaries and nonsense. Proud Trust is in the Northwest. It's a year-long programme for schools. It's got the trans inclusion schools get stuffed. There is more wisdom and beauty, it says here. Resources it offers include rainbow lanyards. Show me the money. Sold via the Proud Trust, a trans inclusion schools toolkit and advice on managing gender dysphoria. They're diagnosing children and then they're getting teachers who are unqualified to do so to treat them for gender dysphoria in schools. They're making a mental illness real. There is more wisdom, this is what it says, and beauty in works of art, writing and music by trans people than there is in any TV documentary. No, there isn't. Nonsense. Those quoted include a 24-year-old pan-romantic trans man and a trans woman who says she now likes her boobs thanks to HRT, but she has outy genitals where I should have an innie. That's a bloke talking. It's absolutely insane. It's a religious belief system. The government needs to do something about this. Because they're lying to children en masse. The government needs to do something about this. And the guidance is not difficult to write. I can write it for you. Under no circumstances will gender identity, queer theory, and let's include the other one, critical race theory, which is essentially critical social justice, and extreme environmentalism. There's your four now, because there's four of them now. You've only got to look, right? Under no circumstances are critical social justice-based power and oppression narratives to be taught in any school up to the age of 18. Thank you very much. Yours sincerely, the government. That's it. That's all you need to say, because it's all cobblers and it needs to go. It's all based on the same belief system, power and oppression narratives. Oh, everybody's oppressed. It's all about power. It's got nothing to do with competency. It's all about equity, not equality. That's what the government needs to say, and they need to say it quick, because these people are damaging our society. They are producing the next workforce as idiots that are incapable. Get down with the programme, government. Do it as quick as you can. Let's keep pestering them, folks. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying. And there we go. That's another video for today. It's going to be a busy day. Prolific day. All right? Have fun. I'll see you later again. I know it's terrible. It's boring. I'm just, shut up, Barry. Draw.